Let me say very good morning, good evening, good afternoon to all of you, especially those of you that are following via Facebook. We came a bit late today for the show because I've been trying hard to get up-to-date information with respect to the death of my colleague Taron A. Brown of Super FM. I think the greatest loss, we human beings, the greatest loss that one can face is when you lost that somebody. Sometimes whether that individual is a very close relative to you or not, but the fact of the matter, perhaps if you have known them, or perhaps you have shared some understanding with them, or maybe you have worked with them, or maybe you work in the same entity, or maybe you work for the same belief and you stand up for the same cause. Whenever that individual is not in a position to physically be with you anymore, you are hurt. Part of your life is being taken away. And first of all, let me apologize to you. I recognize to you, Mr. Hendy Yogi Prabhu, all the way there from Malaysia, because we didn't communicate of late. We should have had you on the show today for you at this particular hour, actually, for us to continue on the discussion of corruption and tying in with assets declaration. But we have to rearrange you because I've already scheduled another person for another discussion. And my guest will be speaking to us from the United States of America. So Mr. Hendy, please, I'll get back to you all the way there from Malaysia. I'll get back to you so that we can rearrange the interview, possibly for next week, Monday. Thank you for joining in. Thank you for watching the show. Let's hope we can now communicate fluently now right after the show. But we are expecting Mr. Hans Williams any moment from now. Mr. Hans Williams is the household name, especially when the issue of discussing the late Angel Toba is brought to light. Mr. Hans Williams was imprisoned, and he went to court, and thereafter I got to know that he's in America. And so we have invited him here to come and talk to us on a range of issues because he's a Liberian. He has worked for the Liberian government before. He's the son of the soil, and he also was also involved in the issue of the late Angel Toba. So we are hoping to have him here any moment from now, so that we can discuss a range of issues. But let me continue with this particular enlightenment here. And let me welcome each and every one of you. And this is a question I asked last night before I went to bed. After I heard the death of, I can say, sudden and yet unexplained death of my colleague in the media, Tyrone A. Brown. Before when I was so upset, I couldn't even do the radio yesterday or last evening. And I decided to just ask a question on Facebook before to all of my friends and family on Facebook. How can his soul rest in peace when he has so much life ahead of him, but his life is cut short? Because everything that we continue to see now is rest in peace. Rest in peace, Tyrone A. Brown. Rest in peace. Rest in peace, comrade. But how can his soul really rest in peace when he has so much life ahead of him as a young man, but his life is cut short? How? How can a young person of that age, who is not sick, who was not involved in a tragic accident, how can his soul rest in peace when somebody snatched it away from him, from his parents, from his workmate? The condolences to Mark, the owner of the radio station as well, Mr. George Kalando. I know I was there recently when I was there during the campaign, during the election, and even after the runoff election, after the while we're waiting for the results. I can remember being invited on to their radio station, their morning shows, several times with Mark. And whenever you enter their studio, you are on radio live, you're also going to be live on their television. And Tyrone A. Brown was always at control. The young man who sat down once upon a time, hello chat when I went early. The show was there at least about 20 minutes before I could enter the studio. And we had a chat. And everything was about profession and how he wanted to see himself developed and become a great cameraman or TV presenter. Just a couple of months ago, coming back in January, just 2-3 months ago, to hear that his life has been cut short in this manner. It saddened me. Give me a minute. Let me power this. we're just keeping our fingers crossed to see if Mr. Williams going to be here. It's about just 8 minutes past the hour. When you come across a young person or an individual that you see life in them, that you see a sense of direction, that they are telling you about their direction, about where they want to be in life, what they want to do to reach there. When you interact with such individual and you see them as a promising individual, as somebody that will make his contribution to the society, that will reflect on the life of others. When you come across such an individual, I think we get a call now from the USA. So we'll go straight to the USA. I guess this is Mr. Williams.
Yeah, this is the one.
Mr. William, good morning. I don't know what is morning hour to you there.
Yes, morning, good morning.
Okay, if you could help us to be a little bit audible, so we can get you, maybe you can do some adjustment as well, so we can get you loud and clear. It's great to have you on the show. You're actually on time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Max.
Mr. William, before you came, I was just I'm a bit disturbed today. It just because of this show, but even last night I couldn't get on the radio. I have to even leave social media a bit early last night due to the information I got from back home that a colleague of mine, a young fellow that I interacted with, I visited. I was invited to their radio station, Super FM. I shared the platform there. We discussed about the election. At the time we're still waiting for the runoff results or so, and a way forward and everything. But I just heard of his sudden demise. Not that he actually died in an accident or he was in the hospital. But I keep hearing, troubling information that this guy was murdered somewhere else, and his body was dumped at the front of his house. And this is a journalist as well. This is so. It disturbed me so much to the extent that I decided to just keep off from media and social media from yesterday afternoon. I don't know. Have you heard the story? As a Liberian as well, but you living abroad now. You work for government before. You stay concerned about your country back home. What is your take on this?
Well, I was so disturbed yesterday when I've heard about this young fellow's death. I think our problem in our country is a country of impunity. People commit crime and war are free. Those in powerless people rights, the war are free. People steal the country's money, the war are free. We have to stop this culture of impunity. We got to ensure that justice is done to everyone, irrespective of tribe, creed, race, or any other thing. The last 12 years, the justice system and the rule of law in our country has been very, very bad. Ellen Johnson Sally was just concerned about her getting rich at the detriment of our people. The people are living in abject poverty. The people have no protection. You have all know there, but if you look around Monrovia, it's so alarming. You see everywhere, every nook and corners of our country, there's ghetto. Where you have drugs have infiltrated the society, it's so bad. Crime began to become on the increase. So I think we as Liberians this time, that we take some positive steps. We need to put our lawmakers fire to the feet and feet to the fire to ensure that justice is done. You weed the judicial system of corrupt judges, and that is the problem with Liberia. The rule of law is lacking.
The rule of law is lacking. Yes, indeed. That's why we continue. But let's welcome you. I just wanted to throw a little light on that. Maybe later on we will talk a little bit, because we want to have you here to so we can talk about our country. We can talk about a lot of things here today on the show. And it's a pleasure to have you on this platform. But first of all, for the benefit of those, for the very benefit of those that are listening to you across the universe, and perhaps they're hearing you for the first time. I know you, I saw you, you work for the government or so, but if you just take maybe a couple of seconds to just tell us a little bit who my guest is.
Oh, I'm MC Williams, a Liberian, one that seeks the interests of all Liberians, irrespective of tribe, and a Liberian that went to school in Liberia all throughout my life. I have some other trainings in China, South Africa, Morocco, and so forth. But however, I commit myself to Liberia. I have been a member of Parliament before, a cabinet minister, Director General of the Civil Service Agency, Deputy Managing Directors of the two public corporations, PRC and the National Port Authority. I worked at the Ministry of Finance before. I worked at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And I'm a Liberian who want to see Liberia move forward. We want to see the goodness of our country. We want to see our people united.
Great.
I come to this program with an open heart for the betterment of our country. What I'm saying here today is my own opinion, and you hold me for my opinion on what I see Liberia going.
Indeed, it's great. Thank you so much for that splendid introduction. At least all of my followers and those who are listening to the program or watching the program live are also intrigued with your introduction, and it's great to hear a son of the soil making such a contribution in which they have contributed to their community and the country at large. It's wonderful to have you on, Mr. Williams. Right now, you're speaking to us from America. You were in the government. Well, you work, like your CV, just by virtue of your CV, you've worked extensively for your country and people. What are you doing in America? You should be in Liberia now.
Oh, I've never left my country beside the water. I briefly went to Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire and Guinea, but I didn't stay more than 3 months. Between 3 months. I'm a Liberian, a patriot Liberian, one who loves my country. But I have to leave my country because my life was in danger. I was witch-hunted by Alan Johnson Sully that had me to leave Liberia today. Thank God to the United States government, because this is the greatest country in the world, a country that believes in the rule of law, the country that fights for human rights all over the world. Thank God to the United States government, Amnesty International. If those people were not around, I would be a dead person today, because Ellen Johnson Sully was going after my life completely. But thank God that those people intervened, and today I'm in the United States, kicking, praying to God that Georgia will bring a change, that all of us can come back home to contribute to our country.
When you say, as a peaceful citizen, when you say, because at the time, I mean, the Omar was president, and Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf was president. When you say wanted to see you dead, what do you mean? Is the whole president chasing an individual?
Oh yes, the president was going after my life. As you can recall, a family of us who live with my wife and I, a very good girl, smart kid who meant well for herself. But an unfortunate situation occurred when she took her life. And for the state has no mechanism in place to ensure what caused the death. They just created the president after it was investigated that she killed herself. She committed suicide. The president been very vindictive. Had a problem with my father. Now my father killed her would-be father, David Kuhlman.
We are talking about the late Angel Tukpa here, right?
Her name is not Angel Tukpa. Her name is Nia, that is President Sirleaf, that tried to gain sympathy from the international community and the Liberian people and the women group. So she named her Angel to gain sympathy. But her name is Nia, that is our daughter that lives with us. So this unfortunate situation occurred in our home while we were about to bury it after the homicide division of the Liberian National Police. We're close with the authority to investigate homicide cases, investigate and inform that the girl killed herself. 2 months down the line, President Sirleaf created her own story, have Ghanaians who were not qualified to come to Liberia, induce them with cash, and they wrote some book of stories. They didn't even perform autopsy, but Ellen said they performed autopsy, which we debunked later in the Ghanaian court, the Ghanaian Human Rights Court, who stated that they violated our rights, that this woman did not perform no autopsy. In our Supreme Court ruling stated that this woman had no time perform any autopsy. But this was all geared towards getting after me. Several attempts were made all my life while I was in prison by the government, which I squarely placed in the hands of Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. I placed on the hands of Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. You know, under her regime, you would never expect this a woman who fooled the Liberian people that she meant well for our country. This woman who said she would bring peace to our country, but all the war, she was the architect of the war, the sponsor of the war, all living down to Ulimo and Lerd and everything. This woman has caused a lot of problems for our country, and she still wants to manipulate our young President George Manawiya to the extent that Mr. Manawiya has good intention for our country. I've spoken to Ellen. So we just have to pray that God take her because she has reached the age of 3 schools and 10. But our country is bleeding because of this lady.
Okay, bear with me, Mr. Williams, and accept this for the sake of this interview, because I follow this story as well. Stay on the international wire. Just please permit me to refer to your late family member as Angel Tukpa, because that's the name popularly, even on the international wire. It stayed there. Even the links that I've been reading, it stayed there as Angel Tukpa. Please permit me for the sake of this interview. Now, when you say the Ghanaian court and Ghanaians lawyers didn't see any merit in this, what are you trying to say? Were you tried in Ghana as well, or they imported Ghanaian lawyers?
No. What happened was that after I was taken to a kangaroo court under one George Lamodese, who violated our rights, which is another case that I tried to pursue to the Supreme Court. I'm going to write the Supreme Court, the grievances committee, because the Supreme Court is ruling, stated that our rights were being violated. My wife and I, our rights were being violated. and that this judge there was letting of errors in his verdict, and he concocted lies, thing that was stated in the court that was on record. He left it and decided to go. So we think he was induced with some money because right after he lied to the public that his leg was strengthening. In 24 hours, the government put a lot of security on him. Right after the verdict, he was free, moving around. Even a pastor, Pastor Gadi Johnson, an outspoken pastor, went on BBC and said, "Oh, this is shocking. I monitor this kid. I witness this kid. The evidence producing this kid. They're not worried these boys will be convicted." But however, we took a Supreme Court, which is the higher court in the land, and with the international pressure on the government, because Ellen have had her own mind to take our lives. She even went on the radio. If you can read the New Democrat newspaper, where she said the couple have to pray because we are not signatory to the death signatory to the abolition of the death penalty. We have Dr. Rice of the Abolition Organization from the United States have come to Liberia because this matter was a concorded matter by President Sully to take my wife and myself life, which I take it seriously because only God gave us life, and no man has the right to take anybody's life. So I see it as serious, and I'm warning the Liberian people because we have a problem in our country. Our country, majority of our people believe in lies than truth. They don't investigate. They don't go into. They don't like to read. They're listening to lies, and when they're listening to lies, they say, "Oh, the radio says so." But have you read? This matter was strictly a political witch hunt, where even the Solicitor General was supposed to persecute all criminal matters for government. Chia Wongonga, a respectable man, a man who has a lot of respect for himself, and the country has a lot of respect for him. He refused to persecute. He said it was a witch hunt by the government, and he cannot be part of a witch hunt.
But this is a little girl that, I mean, you have no part to play in politics. I would say politically, connected.
But I've said to you, this all gear by Ellen Johnson Sullivan. You know, the president has a whole DNA saturated with vendetta. She will always want to pay that.
So who was this little child to you? Because I know in the African context, we look after each other, children, and look after each other also. How would you describe the relationship? Who was she to you? Your own daughter or?
Look, this little girl, my wife came from Sierra Leone from the war, and I met her. This little girl was about 4 years old when this girl became our daughter. This girl, we were paying school fees for her. She loves utter this word. And we love her to utter this word because this child was very, very encouraging child who would do everything when she started to for her parents. She would take care of our home. We leave our things in the dining rooms to take their pack there. But this girl was so nice to us. But for the president to make a rift within our family today, that's so shocking.
So was she was she adopted by you and your wife?
In the African setting, we don't do adoption. When you have a family person, the person is so close to you, you like the person, the family like them. And because the family knew we were in a better position, we took this girl we thought we could mold this girl to become a medical doctor. This thing has a far-reaching effect on a lot of people. People who are took care of. There's a boy they call Bala. His name is Regan Williams. Ronald Regan Williams. This boy that I took from the street, if you can recall, who used to come to me at the Ministry of Finance. He used to bring the newspapers to me. This boy, they killed his mom, they killed his father. He has no relatives. And I saw him selling newspaper, and I took him, I sent him to the Catholic school. This boy was doing very well. This boy now is in the street, they call him Soko. Because of Ellen Johnson selling, I'm teaching violated our rights. We were placed in prison for 7 years. My wife was humiliated. My wife was tortured. Then this woman comes out to say she's a Nobel Peace Prize winner. How can in this world take this woman to be a winner who will order the torturing of somebody's wife? This is unfair to us. And the international community should see this. But I can tell you, Mrs. Sally thinks she's going to go scot-free. Our hands will not go after her. But I'm going to write the book with facts.
Mr. Williams,
I'm going to write the book with facts.
Mr. Williams,
the book will live after she and myself. People will see the truth in that.
I mean,
Mrs. Sully is not a good person.
We will definitely be happy to hear another version from that. But for the benefit, this is probably this is your first time coming out to actually speak to us. A lot of people, perhaps in Liberia and across Liberia, who heard about the case have been having interest in one day hearing from you, whether it's through writing a book or by virtue of where you are right now. I mean, I'm just trying to lay the foundation for the sake of our people who are listening audience that are now listening to us across the world. If this little girl, started life at the age of 4 with you and your wife, and of course, in Africa we know stepping stones are always in that virtue as well, where somebody will say, hey, please help me or this and that with my child. So if she lived with you up to the, maybe I don't know how old she was when the incident took place, what would it have actually caused either you or your wife to take her life?
So that's a question you need to ask Ellen Johnson, because
well, they accuse you.
Because this girl died. Why?
No, I said they accused you and your wife. So that's why I'm asking you. Why would anybody say that you are the one that murdered her? Did you?
My brother, I've told you repeatedly. I've said to you, I was sleeping. She killed herself. She committed suicide. There was somebody right in the bathroom when she told the person to tie the neck, and the person walked out. The person explained to the Americans, that you have the United Nations mission in Liberia. They investigated the matter and have 4 Americans with more than 25 years of experience.
So even your wife didn't participate in taking her life?
My wife has no part in her death. She killed herself, and it's clear. The Americans have it reached. I've told you, look on WikiLeaks. The American cable to WikiLeaks. It is clear that she killed herself. It's just the whole story was investigated. There's nothing. This was just a political maneuver by President Sully to find a story that. The story that was debunked, the story that I have to bring in experts, 4 American pathologists, renowned pathologists from the Nebraska Institute of Forensic Science. You go and check on them. We brought investigators and everything. And what was said, that the government lied. Even the Supreme Court of Liberia in its ruling stated that the government fabricated misinformation to the public. And this is why. But you have destroyed us. This matter is not a simple matter. This matter went all over the world. It was shocking when I went to Ghana en route to the States. When I got there, the Ghanaian immigration guys, when they saw me, because the thing has been wild and spread, and they were happy when they saw me and said, oh, you always used to fly here when you on government trips. What happened when I explained, I showed them the link, I showed them WikiLeaks. So you, as a Liberian, I want you to read. Go look at the Supreme Court ruling. Go look at WikiLeaks ruling on this matter. This was all an attempt by President Sully to take our life. But God will have it. The United States and the international community were very, very far accepted. They know that the African leaders use these opportunities to go after people. That's why the key in the sciences, men was able to know to determine the cause of death. And that's why the government of Liberia has never brought in. You say you brought a Cuban pathologist. We want to court, you couldn't bring the woman to court. I took the woman to the Ghanaian Human Rights Court, and then they declared the report as fake. It has no medical bearing. So tell me now, can the government today of Liberia, because I'm doing an official letter to President Weah, asking President Weah to intervene because our family is a respectable family in Liberia.
But why intervention again? If you have been set free, what intervention? You want to go back home?
No, listen, I have the intervention because the government of Liberia lied. Let me come back again. The government of Liberia lied to the international world that they performed an autopsy. The woman did not come to court. We sent a renowned Liberian journalist into Ghana. He thought the report was fake. They had to run him out of, like, he works now with Front Page Africa. I won't call his name now, but during my book, I will call his name. He fled out of Liberia. Out of Ghana, I mean. He fled out of Ghana.
Did you and your wife actually appear in court in person of judges?
We appeared in court. We were humiliated, handcuffed for something we know nothing about.
For being accused of murder, isn't it?
Hello?
Yeah, you say you were humiliated. I say you were accused of murder.
My brother, how can you be who's supposed to accuse someone when you live in London, when crime is committed, who's supposed to investigate? Is that the police? Is the president supposed to investigate?
The state, yeah.
Or the prime minister?
The state, the state will mandate. The state will mandate.
I'm asking you, when you commit a crime, what is the first step? Is it the police? And after the police charge you, then you are taken to court?
So you were not arrested?
No, I'm never arrested. I'm actually when crime is committed, I want you to be fair to yourself as a journalist.
No, I'm asking you. You are my guest. I'm asking you. Even if
I've said to you repeatedly that the girl killed herself. The police came in.
You're talking about 12 years old. 12 years old African girl. I mean she was big now.
Listen to me. You give me a chance. Let me explain to you. The girl killed herself. She was investigated. We were investigated. The whole household is number one. We have a thing in the house. Everybody was investigated. The police free us. Found out that the girl killed herself. They performed autopsy that the girl killed herself. The report stated against it. After 2.5 months, Ellie arrested us and said she did not accept the result of the police. She did not accept the results of the pathologist because the pathologist was not a pathologist. That's why one of the judges, Judge Kpakio, ruled in his case that it was mind-boggling that if Dr. Kwe has performed autopsy for the last 12 years for the government of Liberia, how will he keep the Hans Williams and his wife? You are saying that you don't accept the results. So you can see the whole story, the whole thing was concocted by President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. I'm sorry to even call her. I feel so ashamed to even say President of Liberia by Ellen Johnson Sirleaf because
well, she served two terms.
She cannot be my president. My president should ensure that the laws are upheld. To ensure that justice is done to everyone. The president cannot be president of a country and going after people's life. You see mysterious death into the country. President Harris, he was a cousin of mine. Nobody knows today who killed him. I didn't see nobody knows who killed him.
How was your
sensationalized?
How was your
Mrs. Sterling?
How was your feeling?
To bring popularity.
How was your feeling? You and your wife, given the way the synopsis that you just giving us, that somebody walked in, hung this girl in your bathroom. When you, I mean, from that perspective, what was your feeling like? I mean, what is it that you did that actually proved to maybe the people that were listening to you to say, oh, this is something true you are saying? For somebody to walk out of, because you were, I don't think you were in government, but you know, as a former government official, your place of living, especially in Liberia at the time, they have to be well secured.
No, you making an error. I said she committed suicide. She killed herself.
Oh, I tell you.
Somebody walk on. I said somebody was in the down with her. I never heard.
Wow.
She killed herself. I said suicide. Read the WikiLeaks.
I've been reading those documents also, but you know, hearing you, I mean, would be more of convincing to me than you know reading the black and white. Anybody can write those things.
What did you read? You gotta tell the public what you read on WikiLeaks. What WikiLeaks?
That's why I'm taking step by step. That's why I'm taking step by step. I come into it. You know, when I posted that I'm going to have you on. Some Liberians commented, and sometimes I have to even delete some of the comments or so. And some are still saying that up to now, Mr. Hans Williams and his wife, they have blood on their hands as far as the death of this girl is concerned. How are you going to actually convince Liberians? You know, despite the fact that you went to court, and twice, in fact. And the last one they have to say, well, they dismiss the first hearing that you are innocent, you and your wife are innocent. But a bunch of Liberians are still saying that no, they don't believe it. They don't believe the case also. How are you going to convince Liberians? They're still saying that you have blood on your hands.
Look, Max,
by writing a book?
You're an educated person. I've told you I want to write a book where facts will all be there. You know, President Saleh used the newspapers with lies, misinformation. That's the same lies and misinformation she did to the public on trial. Taylor. Today, the Liberian people are saying they prefer Taylor than her. This woman is a dangerous person. This woman lies for common. This woman is so dangerous to the extent. This woman is cancerous to our state. I've said to you repeatedly that Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, nothing comes good out of Ellen Johnson. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf brought war into the country with 250,000 people of our brothers, our compatriots died.
What I want for us to do, because we have other national issues, which of course Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, the present government, in fact even your past government as well, where we were touched bit by bit. But I just wanted, because I can't have you on the show here without talking about what got you out of Liberia. And what got you out of Liberia is perhaps if the death of the late Angel Toba hasn't come out, maybe you will have still been in Liberia. But today you are not there. You have to leave. You and your wife have to leave also. So let's try to get some understanding, because a lot of people are even commenting. Some of course, some of them asking questions as well. So we just want to get, because this perhaps of many Liberians, this is their first time hearing you speaking since this incident took place. I mean, the girl is no longer around. I don't know how you and your wife are still feeling about her death also, but the process leading to her death and how the state plus you people played in it. That's why I just want to get a clear. Not many Liberians actually follow such through the media, or let's say the print media on the international wire. Like some of us who have, when we say, well, when I hear this story, I want to go to the bottom of it and read from different angles and do my own analysis. So for the benefit of those that don't have that opportunity, if this is the only opportunity, it's good to hear from you. Now, even when you're writing your book tomorrow, well, we can get to know what is coming and what we're expecting. That's what I'm trying to get. Now, Angel Tuba was age 12 when we heard about this case. I was not there. I was here in England, and I heard about it since then. Because as an advocate as well, whenever I'm talking about rape cases in Liberia, people always bring in her case and Janji and the rest of them. But you are also a father, and you have a wife, and you are a career man. Somebody, like you said, you love your country, Liberia also. But if these things are happening in our society and we don't talk about them and we don't reveal them, then we're not doing society justice. If Liberian, I want to stay asking, if Liberian are still thinking that you and your wife have got blood on your hand due to the death of Angel Tuba, how are you going to clear your good name to them? That's what I'm asking. How are you going to convince them?
Look,
because they don't believe the judgment.
Listen, I've told you repeatedly that our country prefers lies than the truth. In this particular case, George G. Von Smith, I want to call him today. George G. Von Smith was trying this case, and the government wanted to twist his hand. And you go to the Supreme Court. When you go to the Supreme Court on the record, I asked that George G. Von Smith, he recused himself from the trial. After the case was almost to the end, the Minister of Justice, Philip Ezebeng, who was used by President Sully to create all the stories, he got a reward. His reward was to be Associate Justice of the Supreme Court. This guy, G. Von Smith, a respectable lawyer, G. Von Smith, in refusing himself, he said when we were going to school, that when we were going to school, they said those in leadership could change the hands, could make people change their decision to turn raw into truth. And we did not believe it. But now I'm sitting as a sitting judge. He said, those who want for me to change the hands, the deep sit-up, they will die with sit-up. He said, but in this case, no matter how long it takes, the truth crushed to the ground will one day rise again. He said, and I'm about to recuse myself for this case because the pressure is too much, because the government was calling him left and right. But my brother, I'm going to tell you today, why would we want to kill a family member?
That's a big question.
That's a question I'm asking you. I'm coming to a point. Why would we want to kill a family who is part of us? No reason given by Ellen Johnson Sully. I want you to go to read the Supreme Court ruling. You will laugh. They even said, even crazy men will not believe the spirit in me, what they said. That 10 person would be in their house, all of them sitting together, somebody rape. So where would they rape them? I would rape in my sleep. When I was sleeping, you have security personnel who working for one Patrick colleague. And they torture the boy. The boy is in Monrovia today. They torture the boy. He had roller car. He used to work for roller car too. They torture him. They said the boy should lie on me. The boy refused. The boy refused. There are 11 witnesses in there. If I read a letter from Serena Seifert, who wrote President Sully, that the government has no evidence in this case, do not go after hands with us. There is complete witch hunt. One of the student leaders, Maxwell Grisby, Ambassador Maxwell Grisby, who the president used. If I have a letter here, if you want me to read a letter, I will read a letter. Maxwell Grisby, was student leaders who were used to demonstrate against me when Jefferson called jail. Maxwell Crispy was the president. He's a patriotic Liberian. Madam President, you did not perform no autopsy. You created a fake report and want us to go after this man and his family. Our advocate here was to perform DNA and to bring in experts to know the truth.
Mr. Williams,
was not to go after the people, but your whole intention, your whole thing was to go after the people, which we have found that no autopsy was performed, that the government lies on these people.
You know,
President,
I'm still trying to really get at this because this is not your own, let's say, biological daughter. Okay, this is a girl that you decided to help the family so that tomorrow she can become a better person and help, you know, that family, or help help us, because if she becomes somebody useful in society, then definitely she's going to help us. You're going to make you're going to do programs that will make an impact in your community. Now, if this girl wasn't 12 years old, wasn't your own biological daughter, what would after taking her from 4 years old up to that time, what would have caused her to really take her own life? Were you guys already broke that you're not looking after them, or what would have really caused her to take her life, you think?
Oh, thank you. That's a very good question you asked. You know what? The girl took her life. Let me explain to you today. The Americans, 4 Americans succumbed to oil. They have the records of the American embassy at oil. They investigated. And they asked everybody, because I was asleep when she committed suicide. Her mother had called the girl's biological mother, who lives in New Georgia, Caldwell, had called and said, look, this little girl is carrying news around, and people went in my neighborhood and insulted me, so I want to take her back. Let her come back and all of us suffer.
What news, that you are not looking after her?
No, that she was taking news, gossip.
Yeah, that one mean now is that you people not giving her food.
No, the cousin, son of hers was in Smart Road. I think kids, somebody stole and took the news and carried it around, and then people got annoyed and went into to her mother in Caldwell and insulted the mother. So the mother got annoyed and said, look, I will take back my daughter because you and Marty are very, very lenient woman. This girl, you love this girl to the extent that you put have her to have her own way. So I would take my thing. And that's what the girl heard when her grandmother, who was 7, who is older than Ellen Johnson Sully, was there. The grandfather was right in the house. Those 2 people were older than Ellen Johnson was there. When they be in a house and somebody killed somebody, my brother, you handcuffed those people. She humiliated those people, my brother. Look, when the Americans investigated, I'll give you a scenario now. I'll give you something that really happened. When the Americans investigated was Senator Steve Dago from Lopa County. He was the CIA director. When they investigated, when the American found that the girl committed suicide, the American man said, in no way people will commit suicide. He said, I worked with the American Homicide Division for 25 years. Before somebody commits suicide, they have to talk about it. They will always show that they have the inclination of committing suicide. The man said, you know what happened? What was the last place you visited? They asked me, I said, normally, I don't have to who plans her head. I told the man, let me call my wife at home, because after she died, the police investigated, she killed herself. We were never in jail. We were passing around trying to bury her. He said, let me call my wife. I called my wife on the phone, and she came. Said, where was the last place she planned her head? There's some Roman people who yeah, there's a girl, a handicapped girl, who was about, I think, 13 to 14 years old.
Mr. Williams, I hate to really do this when when I throw in question at my guests. I just want to give them the time to actually address the question. I really want you to make us to understand in terms of the question I just posed to you. If this girl was 12 years old, she would live to you and your wife. You've been taking care of her. I guess you were even going to school, everything. You're paying her school fee, paying her way to go to school. Up to age 12. I mean, what condition in the house that not only her now, you say not only her living there, in fact, what condition will lead a child living with you, taking her own life? I mean, no matter why it is, I know you. I mean, you worked for government before. No matter why, I don't think you and your wife were broke to the extent that your own children should go even out to go back, let alone a child taking their own life. I mean, what would have led her to go to that extreme? I just really want to establish that, because at the end of the day, you might be aware, even if the child is somebody, their child, or you're looking at after they get sick, you will get to know if they are changing their attitudes in a way that maybe they have been influenced by an outsider. You will also get to know their behavior in the house. But let her to have reached to this point at the age of 12 that you and your wife are supposed to start enjoying her more in terms of functionality, working in the house, and being good in school and thing. Like you say, oh yeah, about to celebrate my child and thing. Why would she take her life?
But that's what I've explained to you.
No, I'm not getting the question.
Because I'm telling you to the investigators, those who are well schooled. I say 4 Americans. Senator Steve Zago was an FBI trained investigator for your county, for Lofa County. Your senator today, investigator. For the girl killed herself because Elliot lied earlier that the girl was killed. I'm giving you the thing. So the Americans guys said, look, nobody commits suicide. As a trained homicide investigator on suicide, then nobody commits suicide with us seeing it. So the man called my wife in the presence of a lot of group who were there. The man said, you stay here. I'm going into the house. He went to the house. The girl went to the Supreme Court, went to the court, and testified. This particular girl who I'm talking about, the neighbor, and went in there and said, when last was she here? The girl said, on the court Sunday. Why were you discussing? The girl said, she came and we had a video cassette, and she put it into the DVD and watching it, and it was so terrible. You have this Nigerian show, I can't remember the name again, and the people were killing themselves or hanging themselves in the process. And she said she killed her doing, she would do it to herself. The man asked her, did you, the American man, asked her, did you tell the parent? The parent said no. And also that this guy is always playing death. But we had overlooked it. The man came back, he called the whole group. After the girl, they called the whole group and said, let the girl explain. The girl explained. The man said, and you see what? I told you here that those who commit suicide, they always talking about it.
Yeah, but that's something should lead you to that point. I saw recently somebody killed himself, I think somewhere in Bone County. What we got to know was that, this man, I mean, it got to the point he was not even able to provide for a family. And
you didn't hear what I said when the grandmother said she would take her back. So come back to the scene home and suffer. So that's why the Americans who investigated this matter from there was a findings. There was a findings. I'm not wrong. You know what, you kill yourself. So you went into the fire.
So this 12 years old, what we getting out of you? what we
and kill yourself.
what we get
I know what you get.
what we're getting out,
Mr.
Mr. Williams, what we're getting out of you, that because now you're speaking for you and your wife, been taking care of this may also rest in peace, the little girl, is that because she felt Monrovia was better, and any eventuality taking her out of Monrovia back to the town or village, her life will be destroyed. So you're telling us that
she didn't come from the village. She came from the settlement. She came from the settlement.
Yeah. Okay. The question is the question is would that actually lead her to taking her own life because she's been threatening to be relocated?
Oh, my brother, I don't know. I'm not a trained person who will be in the area. This is what
was she really loved by you and your wife? Especially at that age now, was she really loved by you and your wife?
She was loved by everybody in the house. She was very hardworking girl, very responsible child that would take care of all our things in the house. Even if the other children was still, she would be for it. Hello?
Yeah, you're there.
What? Max, I'm asking you a question. Why do you think somebody like us, we want, as Christians, we want to take a baby and a child's life?
That's what I can comprehend, and that's why many Liberians they can comprehend. And although the case have gone, let me hold you there 1 minute, Mr. Hans Williams. Let me just stick with me for just 30 seconds. Let me readjust. We'll take a short break and we'll come back to Mr. Williams here on this particular show. All right, welcome back. Welcome back to the Max K Talk Show, and of course, we have with us on the show today is Mr. Hans C. Williams. Mr. Hans C. Williams, a Liberian residing now in the States. Of course, the issue, I mean, he's well known, especially when it comes to the question of the late Inyatuba, who was found dead in his house, a relative as well. Mr. William, you're trying to say something, and you call my name as well.
Oh yeah, I actually, and when you answer this question for me, you live in London, it's a developed country. I live in America. When someone dies, and the state is not satisfied of the death, what do they do? They call in the pathologist.
Of course, yes.
Why isn't you, or why isn't the Liberian people, because I said our people love life, they don't like the truth. There are no pathologists have come up to say this girl was murdered by anybody. There were 2 autopsies performed. One by the government, only that admitted that the girl committed suicide by hanging. The American pathologist in Nebraska Institute of Forensic Science, who is an incredible institution around the world, who does a lot of the CIA autopsy work, came with a findings that the girl would committed suicide. There was no rape. That the government lied. The government said she brought in a children pathologist. The children pathologist did not come to court to testify or evidence. We sent somebody in Ghana because we knew this was all orchestrated by President Sully. We sent a pathologist. We sent a journalist who was with Front Page Africa Today. He's now working with Front Page Africa. He went there. He found out the report was fake. He went to the mortuary where she works, got a woman's signature. The signature that was on the report that government said she put the government had was different from the woman's signature. During the trial, the first kind of trial, the woman refused to come, but the government judge said, see how funny it is. The government judge Brahma didn't say the woman autopsy report was the best. When the woman did not appear in front of him to testify, so the evidence could be tested. The same government, we took the woman to court in Ghana, the human rights court. If you want me to read, I will read the Ghanaian.
No, we don't have the time for today.
Their findings. They found out a report was fake. The woman findings did not meet no medical foundation. So tell me now, why are you asking the question? Well, those are all the facts can show you that the whole thing was concocted. That this thing was a political witch hunt by the president. And this is why we're not going to sit down. Our family respect ourselves. We respect ourselves. We people that believe in the truth. We are Christian. We are going to write George Weah, the president, that we are in exile and we cannot continue being in exile because we want to come home.
Yeah, but
we want the president to bring the Cuban authorities, because since we've been in America, we have sent emissary to Cuba, Havana. We met this woman, the woman 10 years old in Ghana. The woman said she never performed no autopsy. The woman said, if I have performed autopsy, I will be in Monrovia to testify. The woman said, it's a blatant lie. So who performed the autopsy? Those who were there, those who went to strike a funeral, even the strike people. They said the woman never performed the autopsy. She just brought the body up and she asked for the Laura. And she couldn't see the Laura. She closed the door. You being in London, autopsy can be performed in 5 minutes. No way. You talk about the anatomy of the body, opening every part of the body, testing the blood and everything. This is a witch hunt by Ellen Johnson selling my brother. And you Liberian people, you should be asking for facts. Don't look into lies. Go and ask. You think the United States government will want a murderer to stay in the country? You the journalist. Tell me, you have traveled London, you've been in America. You think they will allow a murderer to stay in the country? To have people working in the country? My brothers, Liberians believe in too much lies. We have to go and investigate. Look, Reverend Joseph Gardner, I respect him. Bernard Ayure, I respect him. Those are people who investigated, were informed of, were actual police officers. You know that, you know today, the government was trying to hide everything. 2 of the investigators of the Liberian National Police died mysteriously. And today, some of us are holding the government for these people death. Eric Nair, Philip asked Eric Nair to lie on us. Eric Nair, investigator Eric Nair, the man refused. The man said his father, his uncle, honestly died in Maryland during the Boyle investigation, and he was innocent. Well, when President Tubman executed him, and when he saw that the man was innocent, it was lit. Nipa, a crew fellow, they asked Nipa, one of the best homicide investigators in our country. They asked him to lie on us. He refused. What did they do? The government of Liberia took him and said transfer him to local country, where they got sick by poison and he died mysteriously. People are not even asking the question. People don't like the facts. that those people, their families are grieving because they refuse to lie on his words. But God is our judge.
Yeah.
The truth cross to the ground will one day rise again. There's no way those who have lied will not get their pay.
Okay.
People were giving money, induced with money to lie on us.
All right.
You dismiss, you remove Steve Zago. You see the blessing of God because Philip Banks told Steve Zago to follow his suit. And Steve Zago said no. They transferred Zago from CID director, a man with FBI training, one of the first Liberians with FBI training. You dismiss, you remove it because you want the hands with us. Is this the country we want?
All right.
Is this the country you want?
His name.
I say you should be asking the government of Liberia or ask President Salif. Why is the autopsy report you're putting the killer war?
I wish I had the opportunity. I wish I had the opportunity.
I brought them to Liberia here to testify. Look, my brother, this is our repetition.
How much do you? Sometimes do you and your wife sit and talk about the little girl?
Why would I talk? The girl is part of us. It's a family of us.
What do you say? Do you miss her?
Let me give you something. You know, one of the things that I'm writing a letter to President Weah. I'm thinking to do this because
you miss her?
I say I want you to listen to the children. I want you to listen to
no, the letter. I know you're talking about the letter you want to write. You've been talking about it. That you have to do that.
No, it's not letter.
Okay.
It's not letter. It's not letter.
Go ahead.
There's something that happened and no Nigerians have asked. This little girl vaginal cavity. This girl vaginal cavity.
What's that?
Was taken her vaginal cavity.
Mm-hmm.
Was taken up by the government of Liberia, Philip Banks, according to the instrumentality of Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. That girl was never buried with a vaginal cavity.
Was that part of the autopsy or pathologist?
Her organ, the vaginal cavity.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Was that to prove whether she was raped or not?
No. They took it up to fix something, and today we don't know where they placed it. But we believe.
But she was dead.
Was used as a fetish means.
She was dead already. How would they take it out to fix something else? When the body can only be removed from one to another, when the organs, what that particular organ they stay useful.
No, you don't. You understand? I said we believe that it was used for fetish means, medicine, African side.
Okay.
They took it off. Listen, they took it off and lied on Specker and myself. When they were buried on record, he said the phone in. When the American pathology came, they couldn't find it. There was a blatant lie. Blatant lie. I want you to go look on the autopsy report. If you go on, I can give you the website and you go there and find it.
How much do you regret the whole incident?
We regret that the government created a false story on us. They lie. We regret the death because this girl is part of us. She's part of us. And she was a nice child. She was not a trouble child. She has even created a family rift today. But thank God that 98% of the family are in favor of us because they know the truth. They know the type of people we are.
All right, his name is Mr. Hans Williams. Of course, he's a Liberian, but right now he's in the States. He's our guest today on the Max K Talk Show. We've been talking about how he got to America and the late Angel Tokba and everything we've been talking about. We're just trying to get his own version, because up to now, many of you that are listening to this program or watching this program, I could sense, the moment I put up the promo 2 days ago, I could sense that many of you still doubt the outcome of the case, and some of you have to, like I say, I have to delete your comments because I requested for moderate comments or so. But he's here today. He's been trying to actually speak to us, but how to speak to the media for the first time after the case, and we must say a big thank you to him for that, for allowing us to hear the story from his perspective. But we're going to shift a little bit, because he's also a Liberian. He served in the past government under President Charles Kange Taylor before the coming of Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Most of the time he's always saying that his heart is staying in Liberia, that you just heard him trying to write President George Weah, maybe finding means to go back home as well to continue his quota of contribution. Mr. Williams, we've heard extensively now in terms of perhaps how you found it difficult to understand the policies of Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. But she has gone 12 years, and she's gone now. We now in a new political dispensation. First of all, how do you view this government?
Look, I'm happy that you have me as president of our country. In that he's a young man of my age group. You know, you and myself, we have been at a disadvantage point.
Mm-hmm.
The last 40 years, the last 50 years, our country has been in. Our country has been devastated with a lot of problems in terms of a lot of problems.
Yeah.
You have the race riot, you have the coup, and you have the war. So those of us in our age group have not really benefited our country, where children would play after 1980. The children who were born in 1980, they had no good playground, no good school, there's no good health facility. So there has been serious problems, and the challenges are so enormous. But I tell you, John, we have been president of our country. We shouldn't just look at PhD or master's degree, or because he's not that eloquent and so, because John, but probably he has some vision of our country, and I think we should give him an opportunity to see what he can do.
Let's look at the concept, and of course the driving force of this government, because for every government that comes in, sometimes they do introduce a working tools, a policy that they will develop, and they will stick on to continue the work or so. They have to develop an agenda that can guide them as well. President George Weah came up with this proper agenda. Any idea, as a concerned Liberian, any idea as to whether you have seen the true meaning of it reflecting on the Liberian people, or do you have any idea as to what is the true meaning of this particular agenda?
I've been even quite recently, I was the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Minister of Finance. I think the government has not spelled out what it means by pro-poor. You know, when you talk about pro-poor, you're talking about an agenda that will seek the interests of the commoners, those who feel the pinch of the problem in our country.
Yeah.
But and there is a misconception there is a misconception, or those who say pro-poor, they don't understand. Some of them don't even understand. Can a poor man make another poor man rich? No. We have a country that's 99% poor. What the president needs to do, he needs to empower Liberians. How does he empower Liberians? Bulk of our people, those of us who were born in Nigeria, bulk of our people are farmers. They hardly feed themselves. Since the coup, Liberia was very productive in terms of exporting. We have people, for instance, I can remember the late Kpakio were exporting yam to Nigeria. There were cocoa, coffee, people selling to LPSC. Even Liberians carrying across the border for higher price and so forth. So Liberians were making money. People in the interior, born in the interior of Liberia, I can tell you, those paramount chiefs, and tell them, they could come to Monrovia and buy 4, 5, 6, 7 trucks. But since they're cool, you can't find any Liberian coming from the interior to even buy a used car. Is extremely hard.
So the proper agenda is a bluff?
No, it's not a bluff. We don't mean well, but they have to go back.
Yeah, but you just analyze it. You can be poor and you help the poor.
Yeah, but poor cannot lift the poor. You have to empower the people. So those who got wealth will in turn build the wealth of other people by employing them, creating jobs, and those who create jobs, people save, people invest the money, and when they invest the money, they get returns. When they get returns, they be able to help their brothers and sisters, and that's why he made. But I think that the problem with Liberia now, there's no Ministry of Planning. How do you plan? The first thing, you can't just come and say poor and come up with all planning. I think this is something that Mr. Weir is anxious. He wants to do something. You can see why he wants to have $1 billion loan. He wants to build the roads. He's anxious. But he's not a technician. The technician needs to come back to him and say, look, the president, give us 3 months, 4 months, we will plan. And we'll have a plan for our country. In the next 5 years, we can show you that this pro agenda will cater to the XYZ. And that's what be the thing. But they just went around pro. And now people are making mockery of that. But I think it is not it. I think President Selly and President Weir means well. But the lieutenants have to try to wait. But you must give them opportunity to do, because
but you saw, but the purpose, Mr. Williams, you've been seeing the president and the government official going to eat in Kobo shop.
That's what I'm telling you. Not pro agenda.
What is it?
Not pro agenda. Pro agenda is to make to have a better health facility, have better roads, better schools.
If you, Mr. Williams, you served in Mr. Taylor government, and since they come into this government has to do with 2 main political parties coming together, including your own political party, which is the NPP, and most of what, in terms of policy development and agenda development, is concerned. Everything has to do with most of the same guys that you guys were rocking shoulders with in the NPP, and they are all there some of them in the background, and some of them are playing the front row as well. Let me ask you that if you were serving as an advisor today to the president of Liberia, we have the only and biggest referral center at JFK being run by poor administration and everything, now being referred to, a different name, which of course I don't really like to refer to you when I'm on international wire. What would you have advised him if even somebody say, well, I want to help you to uplift your healthcare system, or to build a healthcare system. Would you have advised him to agree to say, okay, accept to build a new military hospital? Or would you have advised him to say, well, let's put some good funding in JFK and bring JFK up, redevelop other hospitals like Redemption Hospital and things? What sort of advice would you have given to him? Go ahead with a military hospital, or?
You know, what I would advise the government is that we need to build upon what we have, improve the medical facilities, employ more doctors, qualified doctors, specialists into the area, train more doctors are dog living. And then when we build out the people capacity and have all the modern equipment at the hospitals, before we can build new ones. Because you see our health facilities, you see what Ebola did to Liberian people.
Mm-hmm.
You saw the massive death.
Devastating, yeah.
Yeah, they take war of us. So we that's what I've said to you. I don't understand President Selly, our former president. You have a country that is so devastated from war. Then you said you don't need a Ministry of Planning. You just create a section at the Ministry of Finance. This is craziness.
Yeah, but now you got a new government. They got their own developmental agenda.
You cannot build without planning.
So you think this government is working on her plans?
Yes, but I think we are means world and Ellen. I think we are means world and Ellen.
Yeah, but even if you mean well, if you agree that they are working on her plans, then that means her agenda continues.
My man, Ellen has no plan. Ellen has no plan. There was no plan by Ellen government. What plan you saw? After 12 years, country still poor, the poor are still poor. So what are the plans? Ellen has no plan.
Mr. William, time fast spent more than 1 hour with us here. Just before we let you go, this is a national issue as well. The recent development, especially the two guys in the picture now, Mr. Redney C. and Jonathan Pelele. I guess you rock shoulders with them while you were in Liberia. I know you're following developments. Is it healthy for Liberia, and what advice do you have for the government?
No, they are agreed. They are agreed. And I think the president should listen to them. I listen to comments on Player's book. I don't think it's right for Liberians to really see the president shouldn't talk to them. We got to get them. They have some concerns. Myself, I have my own concerns. That's why I'm in the United States today. So as a Liberian, my concerns should be looked at. I think the president should call a national conference because there are a lot of people who are hurt. There are a lot of people who are hurt. They were hurt by Taylor. They were hurt by Johnson Sirleaf. They were hurt by Dole. And some other people, they want to make their contribution. I think the president should call a national conference to see the way forward for our country. But I think the president should open dialogue with Renessier, open dialogue with the ex-football players who are condemning him, open dialogue with every Liberian. President Selly, President Weah did not force himself to be president. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, as people say, made him president. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf did not make him president. It's God that made him president. And I think George Weah needs to disengage from Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf is a cancer. And you cannot have a good president that we are with a good heart listening to Ellen Johnson Sirleaf or have Ellen Johnson tentacles around him.
Anyway, that's hard to dispute right now because we started doing the election. But Mr. Williams, the Liberians, some Liberians are calling some Liberians are calling. You still seeing it on social media. I call him for the establishment of a war crime court in Liberia, and some Liberians are also calling on this government that since Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf actually failed to implement the TRC recommendations, the report that were compiled there, they're calling on this government to do something about it, to bring it on the table, take it from under the carpet and bring it on the table and see about implementing it. Where do you stand on the two calls for establishment of war crime in Liberia, to deal with Liberian civil war issues specifically, and the implementation of the TRC recommendations?
Look, I want to be very frank and candid with you. I will support a war crime, economic crime court for Liberia. But I would not support 100% the TRC. I think the guys did well with their own limitations. They did well, but I think they left a lot of things out. Amos Sawyer, Brano Samoga, all those people that formed the transitional government, the Indo government, they violated our constitution. They brought in Egomore. Egomore was not a peacekeeping force at that time. Egomore was an imposition force. They killed a lot of people here innocently. People were killed. Journalists were beaten by orders of Philip Banks and other people. So there are a lot of things we need to do. We need a neutral body, the RCC, to set up a team of investigators. Let they investigate and we'll have war crimes. Those who violated rights, people's rights, must be brought to justice. For instance, I saw the TRC, you have Louis Brown must be charged for economic crime. One of the Louis Brown scheme. Those who looted the call for the EU government, who took our wealth and denied our maritime money, you left them. Telling them who looted Gorridge, plantation company thing, when she brought her left group, where she was receiving proceeds, you let them out. Why would you bother Louis Brown? Louis Brown worked. If you want to audit FDIC on Louis Brown, audit it. If it's found guilty, but you have no evidence on Louis Brown. But those ones were open secret. We saw people looting the rubber farm of Godrich.
Okay.
So those are people that people that left off. So I support economic and war crime court. I'm a man who believes in justice.
All right. Thank you.
I was out of prison they didn't arrest me immediately if I wanted to leave the country. I would have left. But I failed the challenges. I went to court. I went to jail. My arrest was violated. I did everything with my resources to bring justice, and I got justice today. Okay. I even took them to ECOWAS court. Okay.
He's a concerned Liberian as well. He rather support the war crime court in Liberia, economic crime court to be set up, but not the implementation of the TRC, and he has given his other reasons. Mr. Williams, just before we let you go, what could be your final departing words?
I would like for all Liberians to rally around George Weah. He's our president. Whether you like him or not, he's our president. We have him to contend with in the next 6 years. Liberia is our common denominator. It's the only country we have. We have to do everything possible to ensure that we are succeeds. If we are succeeds, Liberia succeeds. If William fails, we Liberian fail. Okay. It is time that we do. What I'm asking Mr. Weah to do, I'm begging Mr. Weah. You are our president. The culture of impunity is so much in the country. Ellen and her team, there are a lot of audit reports. Ellen must be brought to justice. The Harvey with my cousin, his death must be brought to justice. They should investigate, they should put out a new kind of thing, they investigate. How local money got looted, they must investigate.
Okay.
They should investigate the Ministry of Finance. How Ebola money got, how the money for Ebola for international disappear. We want to know, Mr. President. It is your obligation. You were elected as president of the country. Any did not make you president. It is God that made George be a president. And we respect you, Mr. President. I'll ask God to continue to bless you, give you wisdom, to change the course of our action, of our country. Our people have suffered so long. Some of us have been all throughout this country. We have walked distance, volcanoes. Mr. President, it is time that you hear the cry of our people. We need justice for all Liberians, irrespective of who. Mr. President, Liberia is the only country we have.
Thank you. All right. That's his voice, Mr. Williams. We say, like I said, Radio Library. Of course, we want to say thank you, and thank you so much for giving us your time. Today, for speaking out, and of course, trying to make us to understand what happened yesterday, what is happening now, and what we should expect tomorrow. On this note, we say thank you, and may God bless you, and God bless Liberia.
Yeah, thank you, and I hope you are already in London today. And I hope the sun is shining in London as the sun is shining in Georgia yesterday.
Sadly.
Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. William. Good day, and enjoy yourself. All right, that Mr. Simple mistake, you are out. The next time, what the music say, that different thing. Well, this is how we come to the end of the this special edition of the Max K Talk Show. I want to say thank you so much. Thanks for all your contribution, especially for those of you that have been scrapping and writing. Unfortunately, I didn't have the time to read out your comments or your questions. Also, is due because I really wanted to press our guests with burning questions I had in mind. But however, the video is going to stay up. Continue. Those of you that are still watching, continue watching and making your comments. Please be moderate. Please be moderate. I don't want to, block anybody from my platform as I have been doing. Let's be moderate. Okay, I'll be coming later on to. I'm going to take this short break and come back live. We're going to continue with some of the clips from the ICC, or the special court for Sierra Leone, when President Charles, or the former President Charles Taylor, was in the Hague. Some of you have been following that, been watching it live. Let's say on my page, but we're going to stop for here now and take a short break, and I will come back for that. Thank you so much for watching. I love all of you. Bye-bye for following. Bye-bye.